Mark Robinson, the lieutenant governor of North Carolina, he is running for governor right now, folks. And there is an urgent effort to get him out of the race. Sir, remain strong. He can win this thing. And winning it just might be pivotal for Donald Trump winning North Carolina. Fake news story about some internet activity he may or may not have had on a pornography site 10 years ago. Like that's gonna shock anybody, really, in this day and age. It's not.
Yes, Mark Robinson putting Republicans to the test as to whether or not a scandal is ever a bridge too far for them in the year 2024, so long as there's an election to win. And the answer apparently is no. And that was Greg Kelly of Newsmax showing you a little taste of how right-wing pundits are responding to the news that Republican gubernatorial candidate in North Carolina, Mark Robinson, posted countless numbers of disgusting comments on a pornography forum, not like the chat area, as you do when you watch porn and then you talk about it. What? He said things like he called himself a black Nazi. That one was fun. And there was a lot worse. And let's just remind us what he said. So he wrote in the forum discussing black Republicans in October 2010, stating, unprovoked, I'm a black Nazi. Thanks. It's very much that no one meme. No one, I'm a black Nazi. Okay, that same month, Robinson wrote that he advocates for the return of slavery. He said this out loud though, so it's not, not a big surprise, but also kind of shows it might be the same guy. He wrote, slavery's not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring it back. I would certainly buy a few. There he was under his name, Mini Soldier. But there's more. He posted a joke about a woman who was sexually assaulted. He used countless numbers of slurs. He said he would prefer Hitler's leadership to the Obama administration. He also said that he loves trans porn. Just gonna let that sit. And regarding a celebrity who got an abortion, Robinson wrote that he didn't care. He just wanted to see a sex tape. All right, so that's who Robinson is. Again, this was digitally traced by a number of outlets that showed that, it's definitely the same guy, even if it was 10 years ago. But here's right-wing media, specifically Fox News, saying, who? It's fine, it's all fine. Here's Jesse Waters claiming he doesn't even know who he is, even though he did interview him just in January.
And we just found out an hour ago that the lieutenant governor there, Mark Robinson, who's running for governor.
Never heard of him. Let's bring in Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. He's running for governor of North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, that sounded kind of like Jesse Waters' little a-holery, never heard of him, even though he knows he interviewed him. But Greg Gutfeld took it a step further, as he does, calling Jessica Tarlov's criticism of Robinson kink shaming. He also defended Donald Trump for endorsing Robinson and claimed Trump couldn't have possibly known about the scandal, which might be true. Take a look.
And we just found out an hour ago that the lieutenant governor there, Mark Robinson, who's running for governor,
Never heard of him.
Who Donald Trump called Martin Luther King on steroids, posted on a porn forum called Nude Africa that he's a black Nazi, expressed support for reinstating slavery, and detailed his sexual arousal from memories of peeping on women in public gyms, and he still fantasizes about it. He also has an Ashley Madison account.
How dare you kink shame?
Sure.
That's a great reaction. So Josh Stein was likely to win that race anyway. If they get Mark Robinson to drop out, his name is still on the ballot. But this makes North Carolina even more in play for Democrats. And this, again, is evidence of the type of candidates that Donald Trump thinks are good for the country. Martin Luther King on steroids, someone who says he's a black Nazi.
But he would obviously.
But what?
Let's take the obvious here.
Yeah.
Do you think Trump actually knew this guy was on porn sites?
My point is that Donald Trump likes anyone who likes him, and he doesn't bother to
That's
do the
called
work.
being human.
No. Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
Okay, but here's the reality of this. If we match up those despicable comments that were left on this porn site with what Mark Robinson said out loud on the campaign trail, they kind of line up perfectly. You don't need to do that much digging to know who this guy is. Let's just remind you of who he is and what he has said. Take a look.
There's no reason anybody anywhere in America should be telling any child about transgenderism, homosexuality, any of that filth. And yes, I called it filth. This narrative about Republicans being racist and cannot stand Mexican people and black people and women is ridiculous. This idiotic guy was on stage with Candace Owens a few days ago and asked her, what America are we going back to make America great again? The one where women couldn't vote or black people were swinging from trees? I would say to him if I was standing in front of him, I absolutely want to go back to the America where women couldn't vote. You know, it was a time when we used to meet evil on the battlefield, and guess what we did to it? We killed it. We didn't quibble about it. We didn't argue about it. We didn't fight about it. We killed it. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, what did we do? We flew to Japan. And we killed the Japanese Army and Navy. Some liberal somewhere is going to say that sounds awful. Too bad. Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing.
Some folks need killing, but don't kink shame, guys. Cenk, don't kink shame. Very important. I'm just truly floored that even they defended this, and they always do, especially Fox, like in such a S-eating grin, they ironic laden way where they know it's awful, but they don't actually want to seriously address it. But what did you make of it?
Yeah, so a couple of things here. First of all, did it happen? Even Fox News acknowledges it happened, and Newsmax is like, may or may not have happened. If it didn't, if they thought there was any chance it didn't happen, they're not even discussing the story, and you know that. So there's no question about it. CNN had a great story about it, so that's clear. So now that you know that it's absolutely clear, look at the excuses that they're making. They're like, oh, well, Donald Trump didn't know about the porn stuff. Oh, and don't kink shame on the porn. But this ain't got nothing to do with porn. The guy, Donald Trump already knew that he said, that Mark Robinson said that you should kill your political opponents and that women shouldn't be allowed to vote and deny the Holocaust. And he endorsed him anyway. That doesn't have anything to do with porn. All the porn did was confirm what kind of monster Mark Robinson is. But they knew that ahead of time. But it's okay if you say, oh, well, that's not fair. I mean, because I don't mind him denying the Holocaust or saying women shouldn't vote or killing your political opponents. I only mind the black Nazi part. Well, okay. It's now confirmed that he said black Nazi, that he's a black Nazi. Donald Trump has not revoked his endorsement. He still says, so what? I like it. I like black Nazis. To be fair to them, apparently they do have diversity in the Republican Party. They've got white Nazis and black Nazis. Wow, they're so diverse. Look, guys.
He's a DEI Nazi.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, so one more thing here. And so if any Democrat that I really liked said that behind the scenes they were black Nazi. Like they said Barack Obama I support over Hillary Clinton in 2008. But if I found out that he secretly said that he's a black Nazi, I'm gone. I'm gone. There's no way I'd support that guy. All of these Republicans are like, oh, that's what he said? We're good with it. Let's go, Mark Robinson. So no, they don't care about anti-Semitism. They don't care about hate towards women, LGBTQ, etc. And then, by the way, of course, you notice how he said, oh, LGBTQ is filth. And then he goes back home and he's like, oh, I love transgender porn. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yes.
Yeah, his comments are really pretty egregious. And a lot of the worst stuff CNN was saying, I believe it was CNN, they were saying that they can't even print it because it was so bad. First of all, no one is kink shaming, at least not on the left. I know we don't do that here. I know that Greg Gutfeld thinks that he's funny and clever, but this isn't kink, right? The types of things that Robinson was describing were not sexual kinks. They were admitted instances of sexual harassment. He admitted to being a peeping Tom when he was a child, and he thinks about that moment now as an adult, and he wishes he could go back to it. Just really terrible stuff. Jesse Waters, he is really doing the most right now. Again, I know he thinks he's being funny, but he's just like going beyond the thing that they usually do, the thing that Robinson is actually currently doing right now, which is denying the allegations against him. Waters is just like, let me just completely separate myself from all of this. And yeah, to the point where, like the porn site comments weren't that far off from his public comments. The fact that they're trying to isolate the porn comments from the rest of his comments is a weird strategy. By focusing on the porn stuff, they're basically admitting that, they're okay with the comments about women's suffrage, and they're okay with the killing Japanese people comments and the black Nazi comments. They're not only saying that they're okay with it, but Trump is okay with it because, as Cenk mentioned, he has not revoked his endorsement of this guy. And they're saying, you, our Fox News viewers, our Republican voters, you should also be fine with this. And don't worry about all the other stuff, because he had said all that stuff before all of this porn site stuff had come out. He was already very problematic before all of this.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well for North Carolina and for Republicans either, right? If it's I do think that North Carolina has a strong possibility of going to Kamala Harris. The polling looks good, and with this guy as like top of the ticket governor, like I don't think so.
Yeah, and that's why the Republicans, as usual, are like, oh, he's a Nazi. He's thinks we should bring slavery back and women shouldn't be able to vote. Yeah, but is he going to add to our power? Great, then we love it. We're all totally okay with it. Hey, if you vote for this guy, understand that you're voting for a guy who says he's a Nazi. Republicans in North Carolina, what are you going to do? I get it if you don't want to vote for the Democrat, but you vote for this guy, and then we know who you are, because it's not unclear. And that's double for Donald Trump. Donald Trump gets away with so many things. If Kamala Harris was supporting someone who said that they are Nazi, the whole country would explode. That's the only thing that we would talk about from this day to election day. Donald Trump supports a Nazi, everybody's like, yeah, that's normal. And then if you tell them, oh, he supports racists, he is a racist, he is anti-Semitic, they'll be like, oh no, you can't say that, Trump derangement syndrome, our beloved Trump. No, your beloved Trump is literally supporting a Nazi. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.